Hi everyone, I thought I'd do a video since I haven't done one for a while. It's very blowy and gusting outside. The wind's been quite bad in this country the last couple of days. People have lost their lives and buildings have been damaged and trees have fallen down and cars have been smashed, unfortunately with people in them, hence the loss of life. It did get very scary here the day before yesterday, but it is now okay. And for me personally, it's been a good day. I've been to the pool, and generally speaking, I get on all right because I try and keep a positive attitude. And most importantly is I don't think about tomorrow. I don't even think about this afternoon or this evening. All I'm thinking is that when I've done this, I shall be going off to bed to have my nap, and I'll deal with whatever when I wake up from my nap. My day is cut up into small little pieces, into manageable pieces. Like when I get up in the morning, I have to deal with the dogs, take my drugs, have my coffee, do my emails and banking, and then I go swimming. And I do not think about the swim either, because there are times when if I did, I would think, oh, there's no way I want to do that. I don't want to get into that water. No, I don't like the feel sometimes of getting in the water and it's chilly. Even though it isn't, it's me. I mean, the pool is generally around about 30 degrees centigrade. And sometimes it feels warm and sometimes it feels cold. It really depends on my physical condition on that given morning. And then when I think about the amount of laps I need to do, and oh dear, I can't do this. You see, so I don't think about it. I really don't. I know that I have to go to the pool, and I get in the car and I drive there, but I do not think about being in the pool and doing the swimming. And when I arrive, I get undressed, and I put my swimming costume on, and I hobble out to the pool, and the lifeguard comes along and they take my walking stick off me and they make sure that I'm holding the rail before they do that and before they walk away. Well, in fact, they never walk away until I'm actually in the water to make sure that I'm okay. And they're really nice people there. Anyway, and then I get in and I just start to swim, and while I'm swimming I think about all sorts of things, anything other than what I'm actually doing. Although I do concentrate on my stroke, which I've improved recently because I realised that I tended to be dragging my back legs, and well, basically because doing the stroke properly hurts and it takes a lot of effort, but that's the whole point of me doing it. I do the swimming because it helps me with my mobility. And sometimes you'll look at me, and particularly if you see me in my wheelchair, you think, well, how does that help with his mobility? Well, it helps my mind. It's as simple as that. Plus, it keeps my body and my muscles going. And that's the important thing. But you notice, I told you, I don't think about what I'm going to do. It's like when I go to dog shows and I'm up at 2 o'clock in the morning to go to a dog show. I don't think about it. The alarm goes off and I get up. And then, the reason I get up so early is I need 2 hours to get ready to leave. I can't just get up and get dressed and go. I mean, I just can't do that. It takes longer than that for my body to adjust. To being awake and to physically getting up, because you wouldn't believe how stiff I am when I wake up in the mornings. I can't just jump out of bed, obviously. But there again, I don't think about that. The day before, I don't think, oh God, I feel awful. How am I going to manage to do the dog show? I don't give it any thought whatsoever. I just know that I have a dog show and I know what needs to be done, and I tend not to think about it. There's this prayer called the Serenity Prayer, which I'm sure most of you have heard it, and it really matters not if you're an atheist or don't believe in a God, like I probably don't. I think I'm more agnostic on that. I just don't have any evidence for it. However, again, that's a whole other topic. But the serenity prayer goes, God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things that I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Right. Well, one of the things that I have learned, a very wise thing that I have learned, is that the only person I can change is me. Really. I can't change you. I might want to, and I might spend my life trying to, as some people, believe it or not, do. I was attacked the other day for my use of medication by an ignorant twat who knew absolutely nothing about my situation. But they were going on and on about how badly drugs affected they didn't say how close this person was to them, but a family member, that was the only description. And, you know, their addiction to drugs. And they were talking about shooting people for drugs. And I'm thinking, excuse me, I get my drugs for free from a doctor. I don't really need to go and do that. You know, not that... I just don't know where this person's thoughts were, except that they were clearly somewhat disturbed. And clearly in dire need of some sort of help, because this person's addiction really bothered them. And when I suggested that there were all sorts of help that she could gain, groups that she could go to, you know, that would help her to change, oh no, I don't need to change. How dare you suggest I need to change? It's the addict that needs to change, not me. And I'm thinking, oh dear. But you see, that's true. Well, I mean, it's not true. There's nothing she can do about the addict, and the only person she can change is herself. And she needs to change her attitude. And in a sense, she just needs to learn to mind her own business. So many of us cause our own misery because we don't understand what we can and what we cannot change. We can state our piece, we can perhaps try to educate, you know, and we can share of ourselves. But really, you can't make another person change if they don't want to. Of course, in extremis, people torture and imprison and do all sorts of things to get other people to change, but they don't. You can get people to parrot what you want them to parrot. You can get people to pretend that they are what you want them to be. But in reality you can't. You can't change what goes on in here. Unless, of course, you start indoctrinating children very early, which is why churches do it, which is why the religions do it. They start indoctrinating children from the moment they're born, which to me is an absolutely wicked thing to do, because it totally buggers up your ability to think. Particularly, you know, if you're told that, oh, well, if you don't believe this, you know, it's the devil's making you think that, or that isn't what you really think, that's Satan putting that thought in your mind, or if, you know, you're a bad person if you don't believe what I believe, and, you know, you get the idea. But, so how does this actually become practical for your day-to-day life? Well, really quite simple. When I wake up in the morning, I don't really think beyond getting out of bed, because that in itself is a real chore. I'm always very stiff when I wake up in the morning, or when it's time to get out of bed, I should say, because I wake up during the night. But I deal with that. I deal with getting out of bed, and then I get down the stairs, all of which is not easy in the morning, or after, you know, any period of rest, because just keeping still is not brilliant for me. Which is why you'll find that I don't often stand and talk. You know, if I'm at a dog show or supermarket or wherever, I need to keep on the move. Otherwise I shall lock up and freeze. So I come downstairs and I do what needs to be done with the dogs first. And I don't think about what I need to do with the dogs, I just do it. And this is what I'm trying to get over, is that I do these things without thinking beforehand that I'm going to do them. Now I know that doesn't make sense, because I must think about it, otherwise I wouldn't do it. Okay, but what I'm trying to say is that, right, a better example is I need to bath a dog. And I don't start thinking, oh, how am I going to manage that? You know, just bending over while they're in the bath to shampoo them. What if I get stuck? What if I fall over? What if? I don't think about it. I have to bath the dog, and that's it. So I put the dog in the bath, and I keep going. And yeah, there have been dodgy times. There have been times when getting back up again, you know, but I've never dropped a dog yet. I've come close to it, but I never have. And, you know, they're big enough that it wouldn't kill them anyway, because I'm never high enough up off the ground. And it's the same when I go for my swim, because I tell you, there are times when I don't want to. I really don't want to. So I don't think about it. I just think, okay, you just go. You go through the motions. And there are times when just going through the motions is really all that you can do. But then you find that you've done what you were dreading doing, or really didn't feel like doing. And I always find that once I get going, I feel so much better. And even if I don't, and there are times I don't, there are times when I can't complete my swim, and there are times when I think, oh, I should have stayed in bed, or at least not come for my swim, or for whatever reason I've just not been able to finish it. But in my mind I just feel so much better because I did it. We have so much fear, and a lot of that fear is because we project into the future. We think too much about the future, or we think too much about the past. And by doing either of those two things, we're really not living now. And don't worry, I'm not going to get all Buddhist on you. You know, I'm not going to get all New Age tosspotty stuff on you either. This is just simple, matter-of-fact stuff. It's common sense. By the way, something I've just thought about. If you are really trying to stop being so negative about yourself, one of the things that you can do, which actually really works, is if you're in the habit of calling yourself names, you know, if you do something wrong or something doesn't go right and you say, oh, you stupid idiot, you know, apologise to yourself immediately. As stupid as that sounds, it works, because you'll find in the end that you stop berating yourself. You know, sometimes we complain about the way other people treat us, but we treat ourselves really badly. That thing I just moved out of the way was one of my circular needles, decided to flop over there. What was I saying? Do you know, I've completely lost track of what I was saying. Yeah, well, there's something about not thinking about the future. You know, I came across somebody not that long ago who just talking about our disease sets them off into tears. And I'm convinced it's because they think too much about it. You know, they're thinking about the future and where this is going to lead, and you cannot afford to do that. I could get to 80 years old and not be too much worse than I am now. I could find in 3 months' time that I can't walk at all. I just don't know. So I don't think about it. I mean, if I do think about it, I get frightened. Of course I do. You know, and then I start planning how I'm going to kill myself. And I don't mean that as a joke either. I certainly believe in assisted dying. There is no way I want to live totally incapable. I don't want to lose my power that way. There's absolutely no way. Having spent quite a lot of my time in hospitals and at home, I never ever want to be vulnerable like that again. Not ever. And apart from which, I see little value in a pain-filled life and not being able to do anything for oneself. And apart from which, it's my bloody choice, not yours. And as far as the law goes, well, it's time they gave us our choice back. It's not that we're asking for a right, a new right. We're asking for our right to be given back, and for all such laws to be repealed. You know, anti-suicide laws, etc. You know, and be given the right and help to end our own lives. This is not forcing anybody to do it. I'm not asking that doctors be made to comply with my wishes, only if they want to. And there will be plenty that will see you as a sentient human being who just wants to avoid suffering. You know, I think people are under the misapprehension that medical science can prevent you suffering. It can't. An awful lot of people don't even have their pain relieved, and they die in pain, or they die in the most abject misery, vomiting up their own feces, you know, because tumours prevent their guts working, or, you know, tumours bursting through the abdomen wall. And oh no, we mustn't put people like that down. They must suffer before they die, because it's wicked to stop their suffering. I mean, how bloody stupid can you get? I just think it's wicked. And there are even people that say there's something spiritual to be gained. Fuck off. Don't be so bloody stupid. And it's no more than an idea. And how dare you suggest that people suffer an agony for just something you might believe? You can't know it's true. Just infuriates me. So, despite that, I'm happy. Oh, dear me. Well, so I think you get the point. I hope. And the other thing you have to realise is that there is only one person that you can really do much about, and that's you. Can't change other people as much as we might think we'd like to. But really, the only person we need to change is us. And if other people are really bothering you that much, then don't have them in your life, but still work on you. Because generally speaking, if they're causing you that much of a problem, it's because there's something in you that needs to change. That doesn't mean that they're a nice, wonderful person and you're completely wrong for thinking otherwise. Of course not. We can't like everybody. What we mustn't do, or we must try hard not to do, is to actively dislike people. And it really is quite possible to love everybody. And people say, oh, well, I'm only human, I can't possibly love everybody. Well, that's because I think that you're getting it all mixed up with emotional love, attachment love, you know, the love we feel for our dogs or our children or our husbands and wives and partners and whatever. You know, that's all emotional attachments. You can love somebody you don't even like, you know, because it basically means just treating people with positive regard, treating people well. And that treating people well should not be dependent on how they behave. Because, you know, if we only behave well towards certain sorts of people, then we give other people the power over us. You know, I don't want my behaviour dictated by you, thank you very much. If I treat you well, I treat you well because that's who I am. You know, and how you are is neither here nor there. I remember once somebody having sort of a go at me because I was polite and friendly to a salesperson who was being anything but to me. And I just said, but just because they're an ignorant, rude pig, why should I be? See, I refuse to allow other people to dictate how I behave. You know, I want to act, not react. And of course I don't always stick to that. Of course I don't, because I am human. I know that this halo above my head sort of gives the impression that maybe I'm not human. But I is. And there are times that I get extremely angry with some people and I could give them a good slapping. But I don't, of course. And then I have to deal with that about me. Because you see, that thought, that feeling, it's coming from me. It's not coming from them, it's coming from me. It's me that reacts that way. They don't make me react that way. I react that way. And in the heat of the moment, we don't want to know that. But you see, one of the things that freed me from the devastating effects of my upbringing and the abuse that I suffered was the realization that I was treated the way that I was treated because of who they were and not because of who I was. I always believed it was because of who I was. Even when I discovered that it was wrong to have treated me that way, I still believed that I'd been treated that way because of who I was, and if I'd been somebody different, I wouldn't have been treated that way. Bollocks. It's not true. People treat you the way they do because of who they are, not because of who you are. And you really, truly need to understand that. Anyway, that's it for today. The end of today's lesson. If you got something out of it other than what a twat, I should be very pleased. But I rather like sitting here talking to this video anyway. And have a good day, night, evening, wherever you are, whatever you're doing. And remember, most of the time it's pretty much up to you. Yeah, shit things happen, and they do. And, you know, each day that we have where nothing particularly shit happens is a good day. Just do your best to make it a good one. Okay, bye-bye.